Hey guys, my name is Erica Carter. I decided to start basically a mommy's blog about my journey that I'm going through right now. Some of you guys may know me from an older channel I had, just exploring of me having my first son. My first son, he's now 1. He was born May 14th of last year. So he is like my whole heart and joy. But yeah, I mainly decided to do this mommy's blog just to, you know, make you guys aware of my experience that I'm going through right now, be very open, transparent, and most importantly, share my experience, because I know a lot of moms have been, either going through this or had a lot of questions regarding, situations that can happen during pregnancies and preterm labor, all of that sort. So just a little background story. Like I said, I have a 1-year-old. He was born last year, May 14th. He actually came early. He was 36 weeks and 3 days. I thought I was basically full term. But my labor did happen very naturally. I had my appointment, I was about 36 weeks and a day actually when I went to my appointment. And my doctor was like, the baby was going crazy. He was moving around a lot. I was having contractions, not painful ones, but when they monitor them, they can see, if you're having contractions. So, I did that, went to my appointment, and she asked me like, hey, did you want to get checked today? Did you want to see how, far you're dilated? Because at this time I was going every week now. Once you hit like 36 weeks, you go about every week. But I was like, no, I'll wait until next week to get checked. I was really scared. I went home that night and I was having really bad pains. My son was hurting, tossing, turning, couldn't sleep. I woke up and my mucus plug fell out. And I'm like, oh gosh. So I called my doctor, automatically told them. They're like, as long as you're not having any contractions, not, bleeding, anything like that, then, some people lose their mucus plug and the baby comes like that day. Or some people can have it for weeks, months at a time. And, they don't go into labor. They go full term. So every pregnancy is different, as you guys may know. But during that pregnancy, I did have gestational diabetes with my son, my first son. And yes, now I am pregnant with another boy, which is awesome. But, yeah, so I did have gestational diabetes, just had to change the diet, wasn't really on medicine, which is great. And then I also, around like 5 months or so, I had, got BV, which is very common in women, as women may know. So it's basically just a bacterial infection. But when you're pregnant, it's a whole different story when you get BV. It's very, very painful. Any infection can cause you to dilate, preterm labor, anything that can like disturb your cervix. So I was in very, very much bad pain when I did get BV when I was pregnant with my son. It was almost like I was in labor. You can't take any pain meds for it. You just have to take the medicine that they give you and weigh it out. So it was very painful. The pain probably went away in about 3-4 days, but I had to be really heavy on my medicine. I couldn't really eat, drink. I was bending over my bed. Like it hurt so bad. But in the end, my son was born 6 pounds 3 ounces, very healthy, no NICU stay, which was great. And he's been great ever since. No health problems, anything like that. So when I found out I was pregnant with my son, which was around Valentine's Day weekend, love weekend. Oh, sorry guys, I'm in the hospital, so they be interrupting. But anyways, during the time frame that I have been pregnant, I experienced pain from the beginning, like always cramping, always just heavy. Like I felt like he was super low, super early. I felt like I felt his kicks movements very, very early on. probably at like 10 weeks. Like it was super early. But following up with my doctors, doing checks. So one thing that they started doing when I was high risk from the beginning was, and I love my doctors, by the way, they catch everything, they're on top of everything. But one thing that they were doing was checking my cervix. For people that don't know, that when you have like a very short cervix, it can be difficult for the baby. Like it can definitely cause preterm labor. So mine was very short. So they were doing it every week. I was going to appointments every week. Usually you don't go to your weekly appointments until you're like 36 weeks or 35. But because I was high risk, I was going every week to get my cervix checks. They would do a ultrasound internally and ultrasound outside too, just to see how everything is going, how short my cervix is. So one week I would go, it would be shortened. The other week I would go, it would be more shorter. So once I came to emergency room the first time, because I was having pains, I stayed in overnight. They just ran tests. I was contracting. And at this time, I was probably, the first time I came in, I was probably like 5 months or something. I'm not sure exact weeks, but, so I stayed. Second time I came, I stayed, because my cervix was shortened, but I was having contractions again, so they kept me overnight. Now, the most recent time, completely different. The third time I came to the emergency room, I woke up, actually this past last Saturday, I woke up and I was experiencing like cramping, but as a normal, I'm like, he's probably moving around. He loves my left side, but these were more of not Braxton Hicks. These were more contractions. So once I felt that, I had went over my sister's house and, try to lay down, take a nap, try to relax, eat a little bit, move around. Nothing was helping. Nothing. So I'm like, yeah, I gotta go. I came to emergency room at like 8 p.m. on Saturday. So they kept me, of course. I was contracting really bad, but they did do a check, which I hate, y'all. Check my cervix. It didn't shorten, but I was 1 centimeter dilated, which is expected to be normal. When people hear that, they're like, oh my God, you're dilated. Like, I was dilated, but it wasn't a concern because, mind you, I just had a kid less than a year ago and got pregnant. So everything didn't heal up and everything didn't get to close. My cervix didn't close all the way. So it's expected to be open a little bit. So, I talked to my doctors. They submitted me. I was having contractions. They were giving me medicine to stop my contractions. And they also seen that I had BV from suppositories that they were giving me that was helping me with my cervix to make sure it doesn't get shortened more. So that gave me BV. Like, I've always been a person, honestly, to have BV. I'm very sensitive down there. And TMI, but BV is something very common in women. Doesn't mean that you're just like out here doing whatever or you're nasty or something. Sometimes you just contract it. Like, you just get it. And once you get it like all the time sometimes. So, but it's very different when you get BV or infection or anything like that when you're pregnant, because it can cause you to contract. It doesn't like the infection, because technically it's an infection. So you can start contracting, you get preterm labor, and that was causing me to have contractions too as well. So they were giving me that, giving me suppositories, giving me fluids that can help contractions a lot, to stop them. They were giving me meds to stop the contractions. So those, I was still experiencing pain. So I stayed in the hospital for about 4 days total, you guys, 4 days. So I was in here from Saturday to Tuesday, right? Yeah. And, yeah, so I was in here for 4 days, and we were talking to the high-risk doctors, talking to my doctors, talking about pain, what we should do, everything like that. One thing that I told them, I said, we were going back and forth because obviously I wanted to stay in the hospital. Like, I was going back and forth. I wanted to stay in the hospital until I gave birth to him, which would have been basically 3 months, because I was 27 weeks at the time. So I wanted to stay in the hospital until he came, or at least try it out for a couple weeks, because I told them exact words specifically was, me going home is my worst fear, and my water bust or something happened, I start bleeding or something. And my doctors were all on for it as far as me staying, because they're like, you know what, you're in a controlled environment. If something happens, like, we're right here. If you're at home, it's kind of hard. I would have to make sure my son's with somebody to watch him and get here and things like that, where it could be too late. So that was my main concern. But the day I went home, they sent me home because they were like, I don't really see anything changing. You're going to have a little cramping, this, that, and the third. And honestly, I wasn't mad at my doctors or anything, because they didn't see anything that was worrisome. Even though I was having contractions, I was 6 months. You're going to have your Braxton Hicks, but they were just a little bit more intense. But my cervix didn't change, or I wasn't dilating more. So there was no reason to really keep me. And then when you're in the hospital that long, sometimes they have to fight with your insurance sometimes, because your insurance doesn't want to pay for basically 3 months of you being in a stay. Unfortunately, that's how our insurance works. Disclaimer, like, certain insurance companies suck. But anyway, so I went home, and the minute I went home, I was cramping. Like, I was still cramping. I was still, hurting. I remember texting my son's dad, like, this is like, I'm still getting pain. Like, and he's like, yeah, if you still feel pain, like, you need to go. So I'm like, okay. So I tried to eat, of course, lay down, things like that. I wasn't picking up my son. He was with my sister. So my sister and him was doing a lot of work, as far as like taking care of him. So I'm not lifting him and things like that. I was already on leave because obviously I couldn't go back to work. So that night I laid down. I was experiencing cramping still. At night, next thing you know, I'm sleeping in bed with my son at my sister's, and I wake up and I feel something wet on my leggings. Go to the bathroom, it was blood. Worst fear ever happening. I was terrified because during the middle of the night I felt my son moving, but during that time I did not. I immediately woke up my sister and her wife, and I'm like, yo, I gotta go to the hospital. I was fully contracting. I know when I was having contractions, they were about 2 to 3 minutes apart, back to back to back. So called the ambulance. I was bleeding a lot. I was bleeding severely a lot. I was petrified, you guys, like so scared. So I came to the emergency room. When I came to the emergency room, I was still contracting. I was on got here in the ambulance. They were hitting back-to-back contractions, 2 to 3 minutes. And they're like, oh, is she contracting? I'm like, bitch, hell yeah, I'm contracting. Sorry. I'm like, yeah, I'm contracting. But the ambulance were cool. Like, everybody was cool. So I got here. They were on it. Like, checked me. You guys, when I got here, my water didn't break. But I was 5 centimeters dilated, you guys. 5 centimeters. That means I was at home in labor overnight, like in labor. Didn't even know it. So I'm just thinking I'm just cramping. No, they were back to back. I didn't even get any sleep. But I'm just thinking, like, I'm just having crampings. Like, there's no way he's coming. Like, I'm 27. At this time, I was 27 weeks and 3 days. So when they checked me, I was 5 centimeters dilated. They're like, we're getting you up in a room. We're going to try to, he's definitely coming today. Like, I was terrified. So everybody's here. My mom, my dad, his dad, which it's a boy too. Everybody's here. My doctors are very understanding. They're helping me. So apparently I had a rupture within my uterus that was causing me to go into preterm labor, which is causing the blood. There was a lot of blood. But they monitored the baby. He was doing good still, but he was very, very little. For a while he was head down. They were I didn't get my epidural till let's talk about this, 8 centimeters dilated, you guys. 8 centimeters. And it didn't even really work because it wasn't working fully. So I was feeling my contractions until he came out. Like, I was feeling it. Only thing about it, anesthesiologist, they was great. Only thing about it, when I had him, I planned to go vaginal. I did. But last minute, Kiers, which is his name, he decided to turn around and flip. Because he was so small, he had that room to move around. They started to try to push on my stomach to move him, which I agreed to. It's very painful, but they tried to move him around. At this time, I didn't really feel a lot. It was more pressure because my epidural was kind of working, so it wasn't like as painful. But yeah, I got to 8 centimeters. I'm proud of myself because I only got to 3 with my son. But this was very early, so I was definitely scared. You know, they automatically I had to do emergency C-section. I was out of it. I did feel a little like tugging, pulling. I was hurting a little bit, but listen, guys, they had me high, okay? I was out of it. The after effects was just the shaking and stuff like that, chills. But I did get to see him. He did come out crying, during my C-section, which was awesome. He was 2 pounds and 14 ounces, very, very premature. So they had to hurry up and get him to the NICU, but I did get to see him. I seen him right after, actually, my surgery. I was probably in recovery for about an hour or 2. Then I went down to the NICU and seen him. He was very small. He did experience a little bit bruising. Overall, I'm very happy and pleased, how he came into the world. I was scared. But this is why I'm sharing this experience, because I know I'm not the only mom that has went through this and is going through it. So many people reached out, prayers and questions and everything. And I made this, I wanted to do this vlog, my experience, because, this is going to be an ongoing process. And I still have a lot of questions, and I would love to hear other people's stories about it too. But yeah, he's very small. As of right now, like a good update, I'm still in the hospital. I've been in the hospital for 2 days now. I had him August 11th. It's crazy. My birthday's August 2nd. So he's right after me. But yeah, my little angel is here, my little fighter. He came super early. It was very unexpected. I did not think I was going to go in preterm labor. I mean, who does? But I just knew it. Like, I didn't want to go home. I just knew something was going to happen. But, he's here. He is doing good. He's not using that much oxygen machine-wise, which is really good because that means he's breathing a lot on his own. But he is very tiny. He does lose about 20% of their birth weight. So he's instead of 214, he's now at about 28. And I do have the ability in the hospital to stay with him every night. I could stay here all day if I want. I technically get discharged tomorrow. But I'm going to be here every single day by my baby's side. And thank God I have help to, look after my son. So I'm not too stressed out. I am breastfeeding too. So to give him medicine or give him food, he's through IV right now, but we're taking it day by day at a time with him. So I do want to thank everybody my friends, my family, everybody that has been praying, people I don't even know reaching out to me, helping me, everything. I truly do appreciate it. And like, let me know if you guys have any questions. I will be making videos to update as far as weight, update you as far as his status, everything that's happening and going on right now, with my recovery as well. I'll be updating day to day, like me visiting him, how he's doing. I know a lot of people, if you guys want to donate like books and stuff like that, send books. I do have a registry for him, just because I do, when I'm here, I want to read to him and everything like that, and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll definitely be updating you guys. I'm recovering from my C-section. Very painful. Just the aftermath. The second day is like definitely the worst. But I'm getting good meds for that. But other than that, yeah, I definitely wanted to make sure I start this blog to keep everyone updated, learn about my experience. So I will be uploading multiple videos So I won't always look like I'm in a hospital too, looking crazy. But I do thank you guys for watching and listening and asking questions. Just let me know, like, comment, share, everything if you have any questions or anything like that. And I will definitely keep you guys updated on everything that's going on. Thanks. Talk to you later.